Hello friends, my name is Auliya Rahmanita. I am a psychology student. In this video, I want to share my experiences and reflect psychologically on the academic anxiety I have experienced as a student. Okay, let's get started. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by academic life? As a student, my daily life is filled with attending lectures, completing various academic assignments, working on lab reports, and at the same time, being active in organizations and communities. There were times when assignment deadlines coincided with organizational work programs and community activities. My schedule became very busy, and the responsibilities I had to carry out seemed to keep increasing. At first, I considered this condition to be part of being an active and productive student. However, as time went on, I began to realize that this constant pressure was starting to affect my mental state. During that period, I began to experience what could be described as academic anxiety. I often felt excessive worry about unfinished tasks and approaching deadlines. Even when I tried to rest, my mind was still filled with various academic demands and other responsibilities that had to be fulfilled. Emotionally, I felt tense and easily overwhelmed, and physically, I experienced fatigue and difficulty concentrating. These experiences made me realize that what I was experiencing was not just ordinary stress, but a more specific psychological condition related to academic demands. From a psychological perspective, academic anxiety can be defined as state of excessive worry, tensions, and fear related to academic demands, such as assignments, exams, performance expectations, and the overall academic workload. Academic anxiety often arises when students perceive academic demands as burdensome and threatening to their ability to cope effectively. This experience can be explained through the cognitive theory proposed by Aaron T. Beck. According to Beck, anxiety is closely related to maladaptive thinking patterns, particularly the emergence of negative automatic thoughts. Individuals who experience anxiety tend to have cognitive distortions such as perfectionism, fear of failure, and a tendency to imagine the worst possible outcomes. In my experience, thoughts such as I have to do everything perfectly, I can fail, or if I can handle all these responsibilities, it means I'm not good enough, often arises. These negative, these negative thoughts reinforce the academic anxiety I feel, even though objectively the situation I am facing still manageable. In addition, this experience can also be understood through the stress and coping theory proposed by Lazarus and Volkmann. This theory explains that stress arises when individuals perceive that the demands they face exceed their resources. Juggling academic demands alongside involvement in organizations and communities makes me feel that my personal resources, such as time, energy, and emotional capacity, are no longer sufficient. The imbalance between demands and resources contributes significantly to the emergence of academic anxiety. From a psychological perspective, academic anxiety can be managed through adaptive coping strategies like problem focused coping, such as time management, prioritizations, task organizations, can help reduce academic pressures. Meanwhile, emotion-focused coping, such as increasing self-awareness, practicing relaxation techniques, and developing self-compassion, plays a role in regulating emotional response to stress. Recognizing one's limits and allowing time for rest are also important steps in maintaining mental health, especially for students who juggle multiple roles. In conclusion, academic anxiety is a common psychological experience among students, particularly those who are active in academic, organization, and community activities. Through a psychological understanding based on cognitive theory and stress and coping theory, academic anxiety can be understood not only a personal experience but also a psychological process that can be managed with the right strategies. These reflections show that psychological concepts are not only theoretical but also closely related to real life experience in everyday life. That concludes my explanatory video. I hope that my explanations has provided insight into academic anxiety and fulfilled the learning objective of the English final exam. Thank you for your attention. See you next time.